All right. Uh-oh. I did forget one thing. There it is. Yay. Our new thing. Except I'm going to make something back there to hide the wires eventually. So thanks for tuning in. Hey everybody, I'm Dan Stacy. Welcome to Forest Forge Wildcrafting with Avenue Studios, and welcome to our Forge for April Arcanum in our themed collaboration with the Interplanar Crossroads.
To our Forge for April Arcanum.
Hello. Thank you, Adam. Let's see. I don't think we have anything crazy going on, except Jacob and I are both sounding sultry with our snotty voices. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I will try to mute myself if I sneeze.
Forgive us for hanging in there. Thankfully, you can't catch anything over the internet, so we should all be good.
Or can you?
Yet.
You get those implants that Musk talks about, you might worry about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
but
that would be... No,
for now...
Not here for Cyberpunk.
Right.
Nope.
For now, we will, of course, in the chat, I am using a new soundboard, so shout out, thank you to our supporters for making that possible to get this, and hopefully the sound is working. I just got it hooked up today, so as always, shout out if anything's messed up or doesn't sound good. And of course, next week will be Knights of New Seattle, so don't miss our After Quest game, Knights of New Seattle, from the folks who brought you Outlaws of 𝕗𝙗𝖃. And most importantly, Adam from the Interplanar Crossroads. Welcome, sir. Thanks for joining us tonight. What's going on your end of YouTube?
Well, greetings and salutations again, travelers, and welcome back to Avenue Studios. And as far as things on the Interplanar Crossroads, my channel, I don't have a lot of announcements as for new things we're doing, because we're doing about the same thing we've been doing. We're on our way to, we're looking to try and get $100 a month, and that can be from Patreon, Subscribestar, locals, or direct contact. And once we hit that, we'll do a big giveaway. That'll be a really big milestone for us. So once that's done, we will do the big celebration. And if we go over fast enough, I have alluded to the idea of maybe getting some not just custom dice to give away, but perhaps commissioning some metal custom dice.
Ooh.
But gotta get us there first. So
yes,
that's what we've got going on. And of course, you can support not just me on Patreon or locals. You can support the Avenue Studios too. So.
Oh, yes. Which actually, thank you for reminding me. Shout out that, of course, we will be playing this one shot that we're building now as a live play, and our patrons and local supporters enter a raffle to be chosen to play for that. So we've already got some people signing up for this upcoming game. So if you want to become a part of that, join our ever-growing forest and join us on some live streams. That'll be really great. And Jacob, what's the status on March of the Mechs and our goal for having that available for other people? I know it's
technically it's available right now.
Okay.
It just is not the prettiest as we would like it, so I'm calling it alpha version. So it is playable. The maps are there, the tiles are there. I just wanted to make it prettier, so that hopefully we'll get another big update before the end of the month. But it is accessible on both our patron and locals public websites. So
perfect. Yeah, so you don't even have to be a supporter to see that post, right? That's a public post.
That is correct. Yep, they should be able
Awesome.
to access that and get the link. If they need help, they can reach out to me directly, and I can help them figure that out if they're new to Foundry.
Beautiful.
And if they haven't bought Foundry yet, they should buy Foundry.
Yes, links
It's
in the
pretty cool.
description. Absolutely. All right, that's great.
that is something I missed to do. I did it on my channel, so I'm going to do it here. Thank y'all for understanding for you viewers that are coming over and sharing between us. Thank you for understanding about me needing to take a break from the Adventure Academia reflections, because I had a family member get worked on by the heart mechanic. So, the biomechanic, his biomech, his flesh mech was malfunctioning and needed repairs. So
That's beautiful.
that was I appreciate everybody working with me on that. I'll at least have a final epilogue type of reflection, but hopefully I'll have more than that. I mean, the kids started a fight against the mid-campaign boss for, this part of the section of the campaign. So,
Oh, man. I can't wait to hear about that. That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. We are grateful for each and every one of our viewers and supporters. Thank you guys for being here. And now, let's forge some low fantasy one-shot in Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
So first of all, you hit what we're doing, right? We're doing low fantasy.
Yes.
That means low to none magic. Low to zero? Whatever.
That's perfect.
we can go low to no.
Low to no. That's good.
Low to no. I like it. Low to no magic for this one. So just to start out with a little bit of the setting, right now it is Captain Miles Kinnard is looking for some helpers for his luxury passenger sailing ship. These helper, aka the players, have multiple roles on the ship. First, being bodyguards of the guests, because sadly, with water, there's pirates and other creatures that like to cause a havoc. Plus, they sometimes land on tropical islands that may have a challenge or two. But your second job on the ship is going to be whatever you wish it to be. A performer, a chef, waiter, waitress, dealer in the casino, or whatever fun thing that we are going to run into. So that is where we are. I'm going to switch our scenes to the map that I've been working on. So this is, when it loads up for you, this is the ship that Captain Miles is captaining. Yeah, it works.
That's the correct noun. Verb, yes.
I am a little under the weather, so I'm being very careful with my words. Once it finally loads for Dan there.
Yeah, server has been slow tonight. I apologize, guys.
Yeah. Nothing should be running on my end, and I'm hardwired in, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so am
But-
I.
First, for our viewers, we would we gotta name this ship. I don't have any suggestions. But it was like the first major thing I realized I didn't do.
Okay. And
So
it's a cruise ship, right? Middle Ages cruise ship.
it's like, yeah, medieval three mast ship with some pretty purple chairs. No, go ahead and refresh yours, Dan. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'm going to do that right now while we talk.
So, does that mean, are we shooting for a kind of low fantasy with magic, or is it low fantasy almost no magic, or what are you thinking?
I was shooting for low fantasy, almost no magic, but there probably would come some items. Jacob knows of some items that are going to be given to the players at some point in time that are going to have some magical abilities.
Okay, and this is Pathfinder 2e, so we're looking at something along the lines of it's going to be a low level. Then, if we're not doing a lot of magic.
Correct.
Okay. So that means magical creatures are on the table.
Magical creatures are on the table.
Yes. Well, hopefully not literally, unless they're like, unseen servants. That might be all right.
Right, exactly. Well, so there definitely some thoughts. I don't want to get into too much because I don't want to spoil it, but the players themselves will be low magic and most of the NPCs. I'm restarting the server real quick, Dan, because mine decided that it wasn't going to be connected anymore.
No worries.
So
Mustache has a couple suggestions in the chat. We got the dove, the saber, Modesty.
Modesty.
Modesty. Okay. Yeah.
That's how I would say that one.
Fair enough. Tipperary. I kind of like Tipperary. That's fun.
go ahead and refresh.
Coming
Mr.
in
Stacy.
now. It's loading much faster. Oh yeah, there we are. Hold on, guys. Bringing it back in. There we are.
Awesome.
So the saber sounds kind of military-esque.
That's
It
true.
does.
Yep.
So something like the dove,
Mm-hmm.
Modesta, or modest. I'd offer
Modesty.
modesty
That's-
along with that one.
That's very funny.
Imagine that, a cruise ship.
That's
named
what I was
Modesty.
thinking.
Yeah.
No, that's I'm actually gonna write that one down.
I like that. Modesty
Deck
and
of decks.
moderation. That's exactly what you get on cruise ships.
The M&M cruise ship.
Modesty
They go
and
to-
moderation.
You go to 8 Mile Island or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So, as far as details go, I've kind of hit the eating, deck, and dinner preparation, which is the second deck down. But I left the third deck down, second from the bottom, wide open for us to kind of plan out a little bit. What is something, if you want back in your mind to back in the day, right? Medieval times, ships just starting to get somewhat big, right? And what would you want to see on the ship?
Well,
What
in
would
a
be a
medieval
luxury?
setting, you're looking at this being probably something by a wealthy noble, and then his friends kind of renting aloud, or someone who's saved up a lot to go and rub elbows with the nobles, type of thing.
Mm.
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, what cruise ship doesn't have shuffleboard on the deck?
It's
So-
funny. I mentioned the other day.
You
I think
totally
it was to Dan.
did.
I was like, somebody's gonna say shuffleboard. I knew it. I should have
Yeah.
just put it on there. Oh,
That's brilliant. That's a really good point, though. It's having some medieval style games.
yeah.
There should be like some kind of dice game area for that too. Dice in the cups.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing like a little casino area, but kind
Mhm.
of small.
Mhm.
Obviously, I don't. I think I have it wrote. This can only hold. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. There's only like 24 guests,
Gotcha.
Mhm.
but they're getting treated the utmost because you got to have your workers and stuff,
Mhm, mhm.
But
Oh, Kristen's in the chat with
So-
names now.
the Sea Witch, the
The
Flying
Sea
Cloud,
Witch.
the Staghound.
Dang,
What
I
about
guess
a
that
bar?
depends
Yeah.
on. The,
Sorry, go ahead.
So I did kind of have a bar. That's that. All this
Oh,
is
I
a work
see.
in progress, but I do have a bar over here.
Yep.
So one thing I wanted to show was right here. I put in an area where they can side load at port.
Mm.
So something
nice.
a little unique is the port that this launches out of has a dock that goes up, so they can get to that point. But obviously, with the water receding and rising and lowering, it does kind of create a challenge. But I thought it was kind of a unique way of putting goods on a ship.
Mhm, mhm.
So
There's some precedent for that, so it's not too bad. I mean, they had what was it, cannon doors on. That's about that level of a deck, so it's not that crazy.
Mhm.
yeah, I didn't think so. I thought it was just kind of unique to this whole situation. To avoid some of the top loading stuff. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit. So I do have a stage here by where the bar is. You can see there's a harp and a couple lutes and a piano that's anchored there.
Mhm.
Now I know, doing some reading about ships while building this, I could swap decks because a piano that high off the ground could be an upsetting. But we're playing in a fantasy world where we don't need to worry about that, right?
Yeah. Well, you could leave it there and have this be the dining thing, and shift. You could even shift your entertainment area down to where you're going to have your casino if you needed
That's true. That's true.
That could make sense, having the music down there.
So
See, I was trying to
it's
have it
all-
here, but I could do 2 bars.
Yeah,
We could
I
do a
was.
bar in the dining area, and then
what
I
do you
was
expect
thinking
from nobles?
Booze
Right.
Cruise.
What else they gonna do?
thank
So-
you. She said that you love the ship. It was kind of fun to design. So far I have a shuffleboard, a casino, a small one, some dice games, maybe a card table.
If you want to, let me see. If we're taking inspiration from real world, you wouldn't have full on hold'em poker. You'd have dice.
Right.
You'd have. I think rummy was early Renaissance, so maybe you could get away with that.
Mm.
Okay.
So rummy is an option, with betting, of course.
Right.
Blackjack's pretty easy, so You could do. I don't know when
Ooh.
blackjack came around, but
Well,
blackjack's
I mean,
easy
it's-
to incorporate into an already existing game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fantasy world. Actually, that might be kind of fun to have as a activities because blackjack is pretty quick to run.
Right. So now we know what we're doing for the whole showcase game, right?
Yes.
We're all
Yep.
playing fantasy blackjack.
We're fantasy role playing blackjack. All
The
right, so
only-
I have a shuffle. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, you're good. The only other thing I thought was, I mean, I think generally they'd be smoking everywhere, but maybe there's like a cigar lounge sort of idea.
Ooh, that'd be kind of cool. A little like chill area.
Yeah.
Maybe that's up where maybe the entertainment area is where that is, because you
Mm.
eat
Yeah,
and smoke,
Little
Right.
portholes out there. Yeah.
Yep.
and then you have the entertainment area down with the casino.
I like that.
Awesome.
Because the musical, it's still just below on the other deck, so it's going to travel upward. The sound will.
That's very true.
Right.
Yeah, so I wrote all that down. So this is stuff I like. The cigar lounge area, or even just a lounge in general. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Any
Have
other
y'all been on a cruise before?
I have not.
I have.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
You know
modern
that-
day cruise. But,
Well, on the cruise that I went to, the dining hall, the fancier dining hall, had windows on this area that you could look out of
yes. Yeah.
while you were eating. It wasn't necessarily the most settling thing for your stomach, but I powered through and ate the nice food. That was the only thing I liked. That was my favorite thing on the cruise, was all the free food.
Yeah, that is.
It
pretty
was
good.
not free, but all the food.
Right.
Free, right? Ooh, Great Mustache suggested small magical beast races to bet on.
Oh yes.
Kind
So
of
we
fun.
can do like rabbit races, and then you eat them for dinner.
You can do fantasy Hassenpfeffer. No spell casting allowed on the creatures. If you get caught spell casting on the creatures, you get not keelhaul, but you get tossed overboard or something.
Well, hopefully nobody has magic, right?
Right. To clarify, we're going as close to no
Yes.
as possible. Okay. Is magic known in the setting to be a possibility?
I was picturing like fantastical beings, as in like creatures, like harpies are still kind of a problem.
Okay.
So there is magic in the world. Kind of, I feel like a little bit like a King Arthur Merlin thing, where like it's kind of rare.
Yep.
Majority of people are normal.
Yep.
Normal.
Gotcha.
That's cool. Right. Which also means like the fantastical beasts to us would just be kind of normal beasts to them,
Right.
not knowing any different.
Right.
That's fun. And also, I should check out on Around the Hearth on Interplanar Crossroads, our chats. We've got the low fantasy low magic and low fantasy high magic out. So we'll be
Yes.
tapping into some of those ideas.
We discussed several different ways to do it, so it was
Yeah.
it was a little all over the place, included things that you might not have thought about as being fantasy, and you might
Right.
not have thought about as being magic or not. So
Great chats.
So that means, I guess, we're going to have the possibility of having to deal with sirens and stuff along that line.
Yes.
So very Odyssey type of situation, if you want to look at if that's a thing.
That's true. I am not ignoring you. I'm writing down stuff too.
Right.
So I think that'll be a good addition to the decks. Of course, if anybody has any other ideas, throw it out there.
Yeah. Cool. This is
The-
looking great, Jake.
Thank you. The next thing I wanted to showcase was one of the islands that they stop at, or one of the areas they stop at. Let me just write this down. And it's where an event is going to happen. I don't want to give it away too much, but I'm going to switch scenes. Hopefully it switches for y'all.
So while it's switching, is the captain also the owner? Is he the noble that owns it as well, or
You know what? I didn't think of that. So we can come up with that. I don't have a whole lot of details wrote out for the captain right now. I was more focusing on some of the more gameplay elements, but
Okay. I was just thinking if you did, then he could be depending on the age range you wanted to go for, he could be a retired military captain, which is why he has the rank of captain. And this was kind of something he invested in because he loved the sea so much, he wanted to be out on the sea all the time. So that was an option.
I love it.
That's very cool. I don't know how much you want to throw into it, too. There could be the aspect of he probably had to get some noble backer to get the money up front, too.
Ah,
yeah, that's true.
Which he could have made connections during his military service.
Yeah, I love it. So without giving away too much, first of all, really appreciate the input, but here is a area where they stop. The biggest thing is I don't have a name for this group of islands that they travel to. It's a bit tropical, obviously. They stop here, they get off, swim, play, adventure, explore. I'll be adding more for when we actually play. But the biggest thing is I need help. What?
Something that might just be fantastical enough for a name is the Bird of Paradise Islands.
I like it so far.
You could, because Birds of Paradise in the game would be different. They would be fantasied up. But to us, Birds of Paradise are a real thing, so you have the association that could be drawn from.
I like the tie over there, and I instantly come up with some like unique, neutral Pathfinder second edition creatures that could be even roaming around. Because not every creature has to be out there to kill you, right?
I'd hope not.
Right. That makes a great potential reason for the crew. You know, the cruise ship always having that target place to go to, and there could be fables about if you spot it, you're blessed for the rest of your life, or something.
Oh
like
yeah.
that.
Well, maybe the captain kind of encouraged those rumors because this might have been this might have been a set of islands that he came to during his tours, and now that he's retired, he's gotten the governance, perhaps, or at least the ownership of these islands from whichever ruling individual you might need it from, king, queen, emperor, whatever. And he's set this is like his whole setup, his whole scheme. Get them on the ship, make them come here think they're lucky, get them back out. And because they think they're lucky, on the way back, they spend all their money at the casino.
Absolutely.
Savage.
So
awesome.
I
love it too. I have some ideas for this area. I don't want to give too much away. The biggest thing was, like I said, I needed help naming it. So far, I have Birds of Paradise Islands. If chat wants to jump in on it too, I do like that though, and I'm already coming up with some thoughts and descriptions of like, hey, as they pull up and anchors are dropped, which I probably would put a second anchor so the ship doesn't sway too much into the rocks.
Keeping it real.
But yeah, so I mean that's it. I mean, what's cool about this one is there's not going to be a lot of need for walls and light. There will be some lighting possibly depending on how things get approached or what time of night, but I'm not going to add too much walls to this to this scene. The ship scene, I could definitely put some walls in there. I don't know how necessary that is. It might make you feel like you're trapped in the views, and then so that's something to consider. Is like,
right,
that means every time you go up a deck, your GM is going to have to move you.
That's a fair point too.
Are you planning to have, because the idea is to have the players be working on the ship, not necessarily attending on the ship, right?
Correct. I mean,
so
you can always pitch
they're
that
gonna,
one of your players is
yeah. So maybe not having the walls is better, or the fog of war is better, because if you know somebody's supposed to be working in the kitchen, they at least for the viewers anyway. If you were doing this in your own game, you could always put the walls up, but
yeah,
in this it might be better because the viewers will see everything happening on the decks and be able to see it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And so I'm going to switch back to the ship because that's going to be our main focus for tonight, I think.
Okay.
Talking about NPCs and creating some of those maybe. Now, of course, there's always the pre-made NPCs that you can get from Paizo Pathfinder 2nd Edition. They have quite a few of them. Just the basic, commoner, sailor, and stuff like that. Or you can make your own, which is good too.
Are you using... So how normal-ish are we keeping this? Is it going to be fantasy races are allowed, but not a lot of magic? Or what are you thinking?
I was picturing kind of like the basic core races are allowed. Which, let's see, I can pull them up real quick. Kind of your dwarf, elf, human, gnome? Halfling?
Actually, didn't they switch goblin for gnome?
That was why I
for 2nd
questioned
edition.
it. Yeah, I think they did. I think you are correct. My brain is a smidgen more foggy than I like it to be. Sorry. I'm looking right now.
You're beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
You're beautiful. Oh.
Yeah, so it's dwarf, elf, gnome, goblin, halfling, human.
Oh, so they
Dwarf,
just
elf,
added
gnome,
goblin.
halfling,
And then
human.
no orc. But
No half orc.
yeah,
Well, that's because they switched up their ancestries. So
correct. But there would be no orc. It would be the basic dwarf, elf, gnome, goblin, halfling, human. Excuse me. And so that led me to what I like about Pathfinder 2nd Edition is there would still be alchemical. So you could still make an alchemist. Because technically that's not magical. The alchemical items are not magical in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Now there are some crossover items, but what's cool is they use the traits. So we could very easily be like, okay, you can't use anything with the divine, primal. Oh boy, my brain is doing really well. Divine, primal, occult. I'm missing one right now. Sorry, Arcana. But
okay. Sorry, you're the expert 2nd edition too.
Yep. So if you just say don't use any of those stuff with those traits, you can still get away with some things like the alchemist. Because we are going to have to limit classes for this particular one. Now, for our show, we'll be doing that. But when we fully release this, obviously the GM, it's their discretion. If they want a full magical and they want to use all this for whatever they want, that's what it's here for. So
Right.
this is just the way we're running it. Because that was another thing I wanted to go over what classes would we allow? Alchemist, I would allow that. Barbarian. The Bard is one that I went back and forth on, but the problem is it's all spell casting.
So how high is the level you're playing at?
I was doing level 1.
Well, there's not a lot of spell casting at level 1, so...
Correct. And that was what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Because this is for us. The more of the low magic, it's going to be all in here for somebody to use if they want to use it. I'm going to have a little document that's read, hey, if you want to use low to no magic, this is my suggestion.
Right.
Now, what's really cool about, before I get too far, Pathfinder 2nd Edition has a rule variant that is very nice. I believe it's called Automatic Bonus Progression. Let me look it up real quick. Yeah, Automatic Bonus Progression. It automatically gives you at your level ups, like your attack potency rune, but it just automatically applies. It's built into Foundry VTT. You just turn it on. It's very nice. So if people were going to play this long term and they wanted to do the no magic, and I'll write this out for whoever LMs wants to get this module and use it, you can turn that on. And that way you don't have to worry about magical runes. You don't have to worry about all of that kind of stuff because it's already wrote in there. I mean, it's on Game Mastery Guide, page 196. It has it all listed out, and even adjusting treasure so that it represents, so they're still getting that feeling of treasure and stuff like that. So there's a lot of really cool ways that even Pathfinder has given you to run games in a low to no magic setting if you wanted to. That don't break it.
Right.
So
That's very cool. And shout out to the Pathfinder module too. It makes it so easy to play and run. It's great.
Those people who made, and they're all volunteers. There's people that build this module, and they just make it so smooth.
Yeah. I did want to ask you what are we able to include the character builds we do for our supporters? Is that something?
Yeah, I already kind of twisted them a little bit, but not too far. So for our wonderful supporter Alex, who her character's name is often Chiro, I was gonna just do. I'd have to go look again what I wrote down. Sorry. I was actually thinking maybe Rogue or where'd it go? Inventor, but focused on the herbalistic side, because in her write-up of her character, our supporters are awesome. They write up little characters that they want us to use or allow us to use. She wrote in there herbalism, and so when I talked to her about doing the low magic or no magic and using her character, she said, yeah, just focus on that realm.
Nice.
So poultices, doctor, I mean, we could even say, for the inventor, they have the medical path you can take, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
But also so does alchemist.
Right.
I mean, there's that too. So you just flavor it as you're doing the natural medicine kind of thing.
Right. But that's really cool. I wanted to say, so people who pick up this module after it's completed will be able to get a taste of the stuff our supporters make, some of the other forgers in the forest. Because we'll have some more. We're talking with 𝕻𝖏𝖗𝖗 and Mustache and Caveman. There's more coming.
There is more coming, which is wonderful.
Yes.
So I'm excited to do that. So I guess at this point in time, unless you guys have more questions, I have our next task.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So,
I had one bit of feedback.
Yes.
I'm looking through the bestiaries, the PF2E bestiary.
Yep.
And for the races, the small magical beasts, you could use carbuncles. They're those lizards with the gems in their forehead.
Yeah.
And they're tiny, so they're rare, which gives it mystique. And they're tiny, and they're just neutral beasts. So the only real magical thing about them would be their carbuncle empathy, which gives them, they can telepathically send mild feelings and sensations to nearby creatures, but they can't really communicate. They're not smart enough to have speech anyway.
I love it.
That's fun.
I don't think.
Yeah, and well, they have days as a spell, but that's easy to eliminate for what we're doing, or keep. Sorry, my brain just did like a lot of things at once. We're gonna leave that alone.
Tune in at the end of the month to see.
So what's really cool too is when we do run this, I have Pathfinder released tokens for Foundry VTT. It's a massive pack, just tons of tokens. I don't have it on here right now, but the carbuncle has a token. So
sweet.
like that's so that's really nice, because right now when you look it up, it's not there is no token, but the stats are there.
Beautiful.
But thank you for the suggestion. That's a fantastic suggestion. I wrote it down, so I think that'll be what we do there. So what I needed help with, and from our viewers too, if they want to help out, building the NPCs, more of just names, maybe what they do for a living, what they look like, whatever you guys want to help me with that.
So do we know which ones are going to be playable and which ones are going to be the main? Obviously, we're not going to be playing the captain, I wouldn't think.
Correct. So I'm going off of more of like the guests, just kind of giving the guests a little bit of flavor. So obviously, if you want to throw in a couple of working NPCs too, which would be fine, but they would have to be a little bit more flexible, just in case a player wanted to be the chef. I didn't want to have somebody lined up for the chef. So
Gotcha.
That would be kind of fun.
Okay.
But I just to kind of paint the pictures, I mean, even the first mate we could do, or bosun or whatever you want to call him.
Okie dokie.
Does anybody have any ideas that come to their mind right away?
What's the? Is it a human captain?
Yeah.
Dwarf captain?
He is human. Yep.
Okay. A dwarf bosun might be fun.
I was kind of thinking the same thing.
Awesome.
I'll change it up. It comes to mind the what is it? Divinity Original Sin 2 with the one with the hat, the sailing hat, or admiral's hat, or whatever.
I can't think of his name right now, but I can picture him because I did actually really like that series.
So that's an option.
Let's see.
I love the idea that the captain says stuff, and then this dwarf 2 feet below him is like, It's like everyone respects him.
He wanted him because the captain already is retired now, and he doesn't want to yell anymore. So he just tells the bosun, and then the bosun yells everything.
I love it. That's awesome.
That's great. Yeah.
I am, well, I don't know if you want to stick with that, get a name for him, and then I got an idea for another one.
Well, does anybody have any name suggestions?
Let's see.
We've got a random guard down in the comments.
Yep.
Oh, I do see that. Yeah.
Virgo.
Excuse me. I'm sorry about that. Whew.
You're good.
Let me see. Golden hair, gray eyes, large ears. Wears chain, wields warhammer. Burger's philosophical and gullible. Oh. Oh, mustache has a carbuncle wrangler too. For managing the carbuncles.
That's true. I mean, probably could use more than one, right? Even if we had a player.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
I guess that's kind of my thought too. Is you can always have 2 chefs on a boat, right? I mean,
right. What's
so the random guard?
What's the vibe for the dwarf? Like country, real world country or something?
What he's really asking is, of the 2 types of dwarves, Russian, Scandinavian, and Scottish, which one will it be? Well, Scots would be hill dwarves, right? And mountain dwarves would be Russian, you think?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm feeling Russian, but I'm willing to be persuaded otherwise.
So we're going French.
So what's his name?
Well, I mean, if you want to go French, it's Jean-Luc, but I don't know that we would do that.
I don't want to make Jake have to try to do a French accent.
Not right now. I was about to try, but
I love it. That's actually
maybe
pretty good.
So he's actually a Russian dwarf, but the captain wants an air of mystique, so he wants more of an elvish flavor to the cruise. So he's a Russian dwarf trying to do a French accent.
Oh gosh. Dan, you're playing this character.
Okay. Only because I don't get embarrassed doing it really bad.
Yeah.
No.
How about his name could be
Gaston?
Gaston.
That's kind of funny.
Gaston the dwarf.
Gaston.
Well, that's his stage name. His name's probably something like Ivanovich or something like that. But his stage name for the cruise is Gaston.
Gaston.
So I am Ivanovich, but they want me to be Gaston. So I will be Gaston. Yes, I hate French. Jesus.
He does carry a naval pike.
Nice.
Awesome.
I love that. All right. And you got to make him now. He's got to have nice dark black hair and be really well built, but dwarf squat.
Dwarf squat.
Is there any other kind of dwarf?
I don't
That's
know.
awesome.
I'm just literally picturing Gaston from Beauty and the Beast,
From Beauty and the Beast,
but
a
shrunk
dwarf.
down with a beard, like a pristine, well-kept beard. You know, it's like as shiny as his hair.
Love it.
No one. Okay.
Yes. All right, that's fun. So we got Berga and Gaston. Did you have a name for the captain? I may have missed that. Or you're all
Captain Miles Kinnan.
That's right.
Yep.
So we got that. I would love a goblin character because I love goblins. I'm wondering if there should be look out on the mast or something because he can crawl up there real fast.
Oh, he's
Ooh.
constantly in the crow nest.
I like it. What
And
is the
he
name?
actually speaks French.
It would be a navigator, right?
Yeah, he could be a navigator for sure.
You are going the wrong way. He's not this way, he's that way. Why are you doing this? This is not professional.
So what's I'm gonna.
All right, so I'm gonna give him the goblin trait. There we go. So, like I said before, the system's kind of cool because there's traits. So right now, I'm actually giving. I grabbed the NPC for Bosun and named it Gaston. Gave it the trait dwarf. It automatically came with some things like the naval pike. What?
I love that you said Gaston as American as possible.
Yes, it's Gaston.
Well,
So
who
now-
knows? That's maybe how Gaston says it,
It
because he's
might be.
Russian. I'm Gaston.
Awesome.
I am Gaston. You mean Gaston? I am Gaston. This is what I am. On ship.
Oh boy. So I have the navigator who I've changed the goblin. Do we have a name?
Yeah, I was just looking at some stuff. Let's see.
Do 2E goblins keep the same naming conventions like ankle biter and stuff like that, or did they change? Did they change that when they made them more civilized?
I made them more civilized. Excuse me. As far as names, they keep their names simple. A good name should be easy to pronounce, short enough to shout without getting winded, and taste good to say. Let's see.
I don't know
The
about
namer often picks a word that rhymes with something they like, so that writing songs is easier. Since there aren't any other real traditions regarding naming in goblin culture, children often name themselves once they are old enough to do something resembles talking. Some of the
Okay.
names I see suggested are like Yonk, Tup, Rickle, Ranzak, which almost looks like Ransack, Nika, Luhi, Krabi, Boker. So kind of short and simple for the most part.
Okay. Let's see. Navigator, he likes to.
Well, maybe the first thing he mapped was an Eddie, so he named himself Eddie.
I like that.
Eddie. What? Let's see. Eddie. If he's a navigator, that means he's probably wealthy enough and educated enough to give himself a surname.
That's true.
So,
How's he spelling Eddie?
well, he may have spelt it wrong. So he's a navigator, not a linguist. So, EDY, I guess, or something like that.
I like that.
Not enough D's and the Y is there sometimes. And then, but since he's embraced the education, he may be Eddie Pin Scratch or something like that.
Pin scratch. Sorry, we're also getting a lot of responses now in chat, so I'm actually grabbing them all, copying and pasting them into a document real quick, just so we have them, so I don't miss any.
Beautiful.
The Great Mustache suggested Riley Aspen, a female half or half elf, carbuncle caretaker, gray hair, blue eyes, wears several pouches on her clothing, holding various treats for the carbuncles and herself. It's adorable. I love it. She's colorblind and can confuse the carbuncles at a distance. That's funny. Can recognize other unique things about them, like maybe the shape of their like little gems on their head. I'm picturing like they're just oriented slightly differently, and that's how she actually recognizes the differences. And then your lovely wife said, rich woman patron, Madame Grasnez, large woman who wears ostentatious hats, big hats, big beautiful hats with flowers and maybe even a little something growing on it. She owns the Green Manor with rich vineyards. I love it, and I appreciate the background too. So that's really
There's
cool.
a little
Maybe
inside
she's
joke
on the
between us
cruise.
in there.
Oh,
Maybe she's on the cruise because she supplies the wine for the cruise.
ooh.
Oh, that's
So she
fun.
got invited to the cruise because she provides the wine.
Mhm.
I like that, and I can see here
Nice.
that would be fun for a room description as the group sits down for dinner. You see, what's her name, Madame
Grosnes.
Grosnes, talking and describing a bottle of wine. I think that would be kind of fun to have as a descriptive.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I like that too, that the players could note, like, there's Green Manor or Grosnes vineyards written on some of the barrels and stuff in the ship.
Yeah, tying that in. Yeah,
Yep.
that's a really good idea. Thank you, chat, for giving these great ideas, helping flesh out these characters.
So what's her race? Ancestry.
I lean
She's
towards
wearing Austation's hats. I
Right.
wouldn't lean toward elf, right?
no,
No,
I'd say
they're-
I was thinking
Yeah,
human
no,
or
okay.
halfling.
human. I'm going human. Well, halfling I guess could work, but I was definitely picturing halfling. But I don't know, halfling or I'm picturing human, but halflings running a manor and stuff would be really cool.
Right.
And the hats are as big as-
grandfather.
These were laid down by my grandfather as I wear this hat. It is as tall as I am.
And the hat's like for half the people are walking above it and you gotta walk around it.
So the creator, Kristen, said that she was thinking human. So maybe we should stick with human.
All
But
right.
All right, no halfling-sized hats.
spoken. So I'm thinking for a lot of the, what level are nobles? Just out of curiosity, but they're not going to actually
Like
fight. They're
3,
creatures,
right?
yeah, they're 3. They're a little higher than I want them to be, but we can always use commoners as the stat block for the guests.
Mm-hmm.
And just give them different flavors because we don't want them to be super strong unless there's a reason they are.
Mm.
Mustache says she can still wear halfling-sized hats as an eccentric thing about the ostentations. That's true. The hats could still be the size of a halfling.
It's true.
What else? Well, since we're doing human for Lady Grosnes, maybe a halfling. I always think it's kind of fun to do something like someone's posing as a noble and snuck on there as like a pickpocket or something.
Ooh, I like that.
So a halfling would probably be good for that. Maybe a halfling bard, like, I guess it would be commoner stats since it's a guest, but
Well, I mean, I can look at other stuff too because there are options. Let's see, that's too high.
Well,
of a
that
level.
could be the option for if somebody wants to play a guest. That could be that option.
right.
Is the halfling who snuck on and he's presenting that.
Mm-hmm.
So you could do like a rogue then or something along that line, and it would
Right.
still work.
Yep.
A charisma-based rogue even.
Right.
That's true. Yeah, because they have those.
This is doing
The
a
rogue is
con
Very
artist.
fun to play. Ooh, a tax collector.
Ooh, good call.
Yeah.
What race should that be?
What were the races again? We've got dwarf, human.
Maybe we should make that
Uh,
the elf. A little
Ooh.
nose up in the air. Holier than thou.
Not that elves are ever snooty in Pathfinder. Oh, Great Mustache says has suggested gnome also,
Well, and
which
here,
kind of makes sense.
yeah, that's true too.
Ooh, that is
A lot
true.
of a
You
lot
know
of
what?
power, like a stick of dynamite. A lot of power in a little package.
I kind of like
Yeah.
that idea, being a gnome.
Gnome. He's got like pink, like a vibrant purple hair or something like that.
I love it. The
Tax
tax
collector.
collector stats are they have an action called glittering distraction. The tax collector strides, which means they walk. Excuse me. At any point during this movement, they can interact to hurl coins. If there are any commoners about, this typically causes a scene. Crowds are usually difficult terrain and have other effects. That's a great action. I love Pathfinder.
Say what you want
Paizo's
about
creatures.
Pathfinder, yeah.
Oh,
Paizo, that's pretty solid.
That is fantastic.
Straight out of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. All right. Tax collector gnome. What is the name?
They still have funny, huge names, so. Ramdazzle could be a last name. That's a name I've used in an old, in my old universe, in the Dead universe. So
I like Ramdazzle.
Ramdazzle's technically a surname, so something like,
Right.
what was the name of that king? Timothy. We could do Timothy Theodore. Timothy Theodore Ramdazzle III.
Oh, hold on. Timothy. What? Theodore Ramdazzle the Third.
Yeah.
Boom. Done. Look at that. That's
Love it.
fun.
All right, I have.
So-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Adam.
I was just saying that's the tax collector.
Yes. I got
What
one
about-
more
go
for
ahead.
for an elf. I will have it
Okay.
be a young elf, and this is like his first adventure out, and make him the oh my gosh, the kid that's on the ship. I can't think of the name for the role. What is it?
Stowaway.
The first, no, it's the first. You got bosun, and then
Right.
the person that does whatever the bosun says, the runabout boy, the gopher.
Yeah. I forget the word. I feel like there's an actual
It probably is an actual name.
cabin boy. Cabin boy was what I was looking for.
Cabin boy.
Yes.
Yep.
So he's actually young. Thank you, my wife. I just saw that. Yeah, the cabin boy. And make him actually legitimately young for an elf. And this is his first real experience.
Well, all elves mature. It's one of the things I don't like about the Pathfinder lore. All races mature at the same rate until they reach adolescence or something like that. So I
Really?
don't like that. Yeah.
I must have missed that.
Yeah. It's only their lifespans that tend to be different. I mean, unless you're a
maturity.
goblin. Yeah.
Interesting.
Right. Well, and I guess that still works for my thought is like literally he is a teenager.
Yeah.
But he's
Oh,
probably
maybe
pretty
he's
tall.
actually. Is this his first adventure, and he has a connection to the captain because the captain met his father, or excuse me, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a favor to his parents to let him have a adventure,
Yes. Totally.
and it's safe.
Right.
It's safe, but it's an adventure. And who is it? The dwarf Ivanovich or whatever. He does not like the cabin boy being pampered, so he's constantly barking at the cabin boy to do stuff.
Yes.
And the cabin boy's looking to the captain for help, but the captain's never making eye contact when he's looking for help.
And what's the cabin boy's name? Just cabin boy? Farmhand?
Well, that's definitely what they call him. But let's see. Oh, I don't know if we want to.
Most of the time, they probably just call him boy.
Right.
But
what's the naming conventions for elf and 2e, or do we want to play with a specific?
it's not particularly
It doesn't have one
far
for-
from Tolkien, so it's
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the first one they have on there is Ariel, just spelled different. Varial. Tessara. Telethal. For names, an elf keeps their name. An elf keeps their personal name secret among their family while giving a nickname when meeting other people. This nickname
Oh.
can change over time due to events in the elf's life, or even on a whim. A single elf might be known by many names, by associates or of different ages and regions. Elven names consist of multiple syllables and are meant to flow lyrically, at least in the elven tongue. They are so commonly end in el or ara, ara, that other cultures sometimes avoid names ending in these syllables to avoid sounding too elven.
So, what if we went with something like Venris?
I was liking the V too.
Venris River Runner or something like that. Perhaps his family is associated with water, is why he's going for a ship type adventure. But Ivanovic just calls him Vinny.
Venny.
And because Ivanovic or Gaston calls him Vinny all the time, everybody else just started calling him Vinny. And he can't get people to stop because that's what everybody refers to him as on the ship.
Right.
So he's just Vinny.
Love it.
That's perfect.
So I was also thinking, I think I saw in here merchant.
Oh yeah.
It's a merchant on vacation with his family.
Merchant on vacation with family.
He's one of the guests on the ship. So it would be his wife and one daughter.
So this could be a human, and then we could mix up the race to have a half baby. That would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
So we could do the male human, and we could do, elf or whatever.
I almost clicked on ghoul.
Probably not. Probably not. Well, I mean, after she had the kid, maybe he resurrected. Maybe she died during. Oh, that gets dark.
Yeah.
So, anyway, avoiding trying to
What
keep it
was the-
PG-13 adjacent.
Yeah.
Adjacent. So she would be elf then.
I was thinking elf, but if you want to do something more surprising to the PCs, you could go with orc.
So orc is technically an uncommon race, so that would be very interesting to have. She would be the only orc on the ship.
She
Which
may
would
be
be
the only
fine.
orc they see the whole adventure.
That's what I'm. Yeah,
Interesting.
So she's exotic,
I like
which
it.
is why he liked her. He likes a tough woman that can kick his butt.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna need names for them. Let's see. Excuse me. Let's see here. It's gonna be duplicate so that I can make it a. So Dan, if you want to show them, actually click on the actors, which is the little dude in the right hand side.
Right
Like,
hand
it's got,
side.
like, the-
Gotcha.
If you click on that and drop down NPCs, you'll see the ones that I've started adding, and that way the people can see what we're doing too.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you.
At least a little bit more.
Yep.
So if you
for
click on the April
Pathfinder-
Arcanum, yeah, you
Yeah.
got it.
NPCs. Oh, sorry.
You're ahead of me.
You're 10 seconds back. Yeah.
Yep.
No worries.
Let's see.
You're great. Eddie,
I was
Puma,
making
yeah,
sure.
this is
I want our
great.
viewers to see what we're doing too.
Yes. Thank you.
I thought for sure there was a orc deity with a G, but I'm probably thinking of Garona. But
So I need a name for the merchant, who's a human.
I like I had a last name, but let's do Merrick.
oh, we're going there, are we?
Oh yeah. Merrick Londonville.
London or Linden?
Linden, yeah. With an I.
All right.
Is it an Easter egg for the bomb squad? What? What? This is him before the bad stuff?
Oh, close. That would be Malik. I do tend to like those hard Ks at the end, though, don't I?
I see that. All right. So what is his beautiful orcish wife's name? That's the question.
I was actually looking at the deities. Oh, that's fitting. So there's the deity Dretha, that is the dark orc goddess, the Dark Mother. She's fertility, birth, and death. But she may be named after her in a variation, like Drathana. She may have humanized her name. she didn't
𝙤𝙗𝙗.
like-
I like that.
Because she didn't like how harsh it sounded.
The Dark Mother.
Which
Alright,
would make
well,
sense for her fertility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You know,
that's great.
She has a kid.
Let's see. 𝙤𝙗𝙗. Perfect. I like that a lot. Let's see. I'm going to change this so it's not alphabetical because that's annoying me. There we go. And then the son's name.
Is it a son or is it a
Oh,
baby
daughter.
girl?
Daughter. Sorry.
My head went girl.
Yeah, my head went girl too. I just too much going on.
So
Did you see the image for 𝙤𝙗𝙗, the Dark Mother? I'm pretty sure she's pregnant in that picture.
she is.
It would make sense.
All right,
She is hardcore.
Yeah.
So I think that a human name probably would fit better
Yeah.
because the thing I'm building in my head is that 𝙤𝙗𝙗 wanted to leave orc culture. She wasn't happy there.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so she married out of orc culture to this merchant that may have just been traveling, and maybe she didn't even, it wasn't a love thing until after they started the marriage, and then it became a love thing.
Plot twist.
And it's like,
Captain Miles led part of one of his missions is he led and wiped out half of her tribe when she was little.
Ooh.
well, she wouldn't hold a grudge because she's an orc.
No,
That's
exactly.
just how it is.
Yeah. But it would be kind of cool if it came out.
Yeah, he led that attack, which led to her being orphaned and out.
Yep.
And then she came in contact with this merchant when he was younger, and they grew up they finished growing up together, and then it became it was aggressive, and then, why don't you like me? I do like you. Why can't you see it? It's like, what? And so the person she was butting heads with the most was because she enjoyed his company and was, open with him, and, was willing to be orcish around him while trying to fit in with the humans. And so they just matched up. And now they have a daughter named Millicent, because Millicent means industrious and literally means millicent.
Nice.
I like it. Awesome. I'm just writing that down. This is fun.
Yeah, so these NPCs have plenty of background for you to play
lots
with.
of drama. Awesome. I mean, we don't have to name them all. I just wanted a few to kind of paint a picture of on the ship, because obviously you're gonna have some plain just commoners involved, or maybe not commoners, but locals, nobles, richer people. I was thinking about making one librarian, obviously for my wife. So I'll take care of that later.
If you see the sexy librarian in this plaything,
don't kill her.
Don't kill her.
So awesome. So that's a lot of the NPCs and some background, and some of that's fleshed out. We have the deck. I'm trying to think of what else I got. You guys dumped a lot on me, which was awesome. Oh, I remember. So at the top of the ship screen, there is this area that is technically below the front of the ship there.
Okay.
I was just going to use it for storage, but is there something else unique that I could use that for? Oh, you know what? And right off the top of my head, I could think of it could be a sleeping quarters for who is like actively on night watch, not sleeping, but like a
Watch post.
Watch post, essentially.
Yep.
Because you got the what is it, the statue on the front, the portion that goes on that front there of whatever this is named. There's going to be that, and that's usually a spot that they'll roam around at. Up on the top, I mean.
Oh, on the top, yeah.
Yep. Put this down here. I mean, you could always use it for storage.
Yeah, I
Is-
think
And
a
then
mixture.
hide stuff down there.
Go ahead, Dan.
Well, I was thinking too, if it's for the night watch and stuff, maybe there's some weapon supplies in there.
That's what I was thinking. Some basic weapon supplies being in there,
Mhm.
and then so a mixture of storage and night watch.
Right.
I think would be a lot of fun. Awesome. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that can you guys think of anything else to add to this?
Well, have you gotten your NPCs set yet? I mean, your PCs set yet?
I haven't finished those. I'm still actually waiting for some information from some of our patrons. But if you had a PC idea, I will take your pitch.
I was just thinking about the different roles that you're looking at filling. You've got the cook, so somebody, you can either play the cook or the cook's assistant, so those are options. You can play just a regular sailor.
Correct.
You could play.
An entertainer.
I was thinking that somebody could play you can play an entertainer with the bard. You could also play a dealer at
Yep.
the blackjack table.
Yep. I
That's
like
exactly.
that.
And
what I
maybe-
did too.
Depending, maybe the PCs know not to play blackjack at the table, not to play in the casino, and they play down below. Because if you play in the casino, the ship always wins,
Right.
type of thing.
That's fun.
So
Or could it be up in that top part amongst the storage? There's a little table
Yeah.
there where
I'm about to set up a little table. There were some
the
cards.
real
Yeah.
games happen.
The real games happen.
Yep.
So I also was thinking a juggler. So in Pathfinder Second Edition, when they released Extinction Curse, they came out with a bunch of circus things, and one of them is actively a juggler. So I think it would be cool for one of the characters to be a fighter with the juggler archetype,
Nice.
and you're able to like throw daggers and stuff. So it wouldn't be uncommon for them to be carrying whatever, clubs or daggers or whatever,
Right.
because that's part of their act. But how much fun would that be for them to then get involved, because they are hired as bodyguards of the guests, but also paid for their ability to entertain.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
No, both the sailor and the entertainer have a lot of different options based off of that variation too. Because I'm thinking like acrobatic people, and then as the sailor, there could be there's obviously someone who's got to be a shipwright of some sort or have a background in that.
Yeah, some carpentry work. I was thinking too. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, Pathfinder Second Edition has a massive amount of background to pick from. So even just scrolling through them real quick, I mean, you have artisan or artisan, which could easily be the woodworker, and that's just the background. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, just flipping through these, I just see quite a few. I mean, entertainer is actually a background. So as I think about it too, now that I'm processing a little bit more, I might make this a level 2 adventure, and that way the archetypes can kick in.
Okay.
Because there's no archetypes at level 1 technically. So doing the juggler and stuff as I'm processing and talking it through. Thank you. Plus, I mean, everybody, there's a lot of level 1 stuff out there, but level 2 or 3 could be fun too.
Yeah. I like the idea that also kind of hints at like the captain who's ex-military has brought in some people that he knew from his military time, so they already have a little background in adventure of some sort. They've been
That's
around.
True. That's true.
Especially
makes
too with the low fantasy. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but like in the low fantasy setting, the level 2 and the level 3 is a lot more significant. It takes a lot longer to get there in a low fantasy setting.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah, I mean, unless you're playing by not by experience.
Right.
So milestone, that's the word I'm looking for.
Milestone, right.
So did you have an idea for a class for the character you were talking about?
Which
Adam?
one? Oh, Adam. Yeah,
The
yeah.
dealer?
The dealer, yeah.
Well, I thought it would be fun if I remember that in Pathfinder 1, there's like the hedge wizard or something like that, or perhaps magical trickster or something, where because the carbuncles can do the daze thing. If someone's winning too much, the carbuncles are off there in the cage, and that carbuncle is actually a pseudo familiar to the wizard who's dealing. So if somebody's winning too much, it can do a daze on someone who's winning too much. But that would be that might be something that would have to be worked towards, because I'm not sure how familiars work in 2e. I haven't played a wizard. So
what's cool is there's actually a lot of different ways to get a familiar, and you can also avoid the magical way. And I believe the alchemist has a. Let me open this up. I think they actually have a way to get like an alchemical familiar. Yes, alchemical familiar, which could easily be like the carbuncle.
Yeah, just to reflavor it.
Just reflavor it a little bit, yeah. Because their idea is like it's made of your own flesh and blood, but it appears to be a small creature of flesh and blood, though it might have some unusual or distinguishing aspects. I was listening to a podcast, Min-Max, check them out. But one of their familiars, alchemical familiars, was a rainbow squirrel. Because the squirrel fell in its alchemical squirrel. I think it was a squirrel. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Now I'm second guessing myself. I'm gonna stop talking.
You'll have to go over and listen to the Min-Max podcast to find out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go re-listen to it. The alchemical familiar, though, and that way you're also staying away from the magical end of things, essentially. So you can avoid because I don't want to hobble the wizard. Somebody picks a wizard character and now they can't use any spells. I don't want to hobble them that way.
Right. I was thinking like if that was what was used, because you can use whichever class works best for the idea.
Yeah.
But if that was used, you were just reflavoring it as an extremely good sleight of hand for like a prestidigitation thing, almost like a magician. So you take it and you treat it like a magician, not a wizard. So it's all technically sleight of hand.
I mean, that's pretty cool too. So many options.
Which would also mean why they would need somatic components, because you have to move your hands to do sleight of hand. So you can use either one if you want to, and just reflavor it.
Yeah. I definitely like that one. Yeah. As I build the characters later on this week, I probably will look at that idea and see, because I do like that idea. And technically at level 2, I think I don't get a ton of spells, so it'd probably be easy to reflavor them.
Right.
Without going through and looking.
Yeah, you just pick ones that make sense for a magician rather than an actual wizard.
That's true.
You could even use like investigator to play around with that, I think.
Yep, investigator and inventor both have
for like the perception-based stuff.
Yeah.
Right. That's a great class for doing a lot of stuff without magic.
Yeah. And same thing with the inventor.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is there's actually quite a few options. At first, when I was thinking no magic in Pathfinder, I was like, or low magic, I was like, man, it feels very limiting. But it's not. There's actually a lot of options that they have, like investigator, inventor, the gunslinger, even fighter, obviously, barbarian, alchemist.
Hey, shameless plug. Check out our Outlaws of 𝐼𝙗𝖃 game that we did. No magic.
That would actually be something to bring up. It would be incredibly valuable for them to have a gunslinger or someone with firearms on a ship. So that is
for sure
a thing that could be looked at.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the thaumaturge could be interesting because you're helping. They're not technically magical.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, they're more of like studying. It reminds me of like the people who hunt Bigfoot and stuff, or like you hunt supernatural things,
right?
Which I'm not going to explain.
Well, there is magic in the setting, so that does make sense that it's not no magic, it's low magic. So if it does exist, someone would be someone who would want to dive into that would
See,
be able to find info.
Some of the stuff is magical as I look through, but that one might fit well, like you were just saying, because they're looking for it, they're trying to study it.
So a paranormal investigator type of individual, or at least mentally, they would.
The power of friendship. Yeah. Well, I would consider that one too as an option. Interesting. So that's awesome. Swashbuckler, that'd fit well.
Oh yeah.
Rogue.
Yep.
So monk, you could get away with easily.
Yeah, swashbuckler or rogue.
Yeah.
The monk could be
That
like
is, they
acrobatic
did use.
entertainer.
Yep.
Which would be quite entertaining if they did it on deck. Like if they went outside and did it their show on deck. They had a tightrope between the two things, and they would bounce up and down on the rope and then flip back and forth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that is an option for a performer.
Right.
So as you say that, I got some ideas where it would be cool for somebody to put on a show where they kind of do like the tight walk, and then later on, if I was to run this as a campaign, I would give that person a feather fall token or something along those lines.
Oh, fun.
So when they leap off, they can activate that. So people think they're gonna die, and then all of a sudden they just stop. They're like, that could be amazing in a world that's so little magic.
Right.
Stuff to wow the crowd.
Right.
Oh, there's so much to do. It's so exciting.
It's all about the show.
As far as the module goes and the map, I mean, you guys have given me so much wonderful things to work on. Helping me name the things. There isn't a whole lot in my mind and on my lists that I checked that we didn't hit on. I mean, we talked about the walls. We talked about some of the lighting. Excuse me. The only other thing I would probably add, which is going to happen, is sounds. Maybe some waves. Oh, I remember hazards. Real quick before we close out this. What are some hazards besides just a storm? But I kind of want to I like the idea of a challenge event that they have to face a hazard that's beyond a storm or different than a storm. A Kraken. I don't know. What do you guys suggest?
Krakens are very dangerous.
Right, and that's what I
Could it?
That's
So if we tone it down a little to something that adds back in some fantastical, that it's like giant sea turtle or whale, something that is a danger to the ship, but not intentionally. It's such a huge thing. It doesn't care about the ship.
Oh, interesting. Because a giant octopus, which would be technically a level 8 creature, but it could create. But I like the idea of it doesn't even realize it's hurting the ship.
Right,
Is there
because
a
I think
giant turtle?
either like a giant turtle.
There are dragon turtles. Yeah.
The dragon turtle. That's what it was
dragon
called.
turtle. That could be fun.
Yep.
It's literally
There
like
it
The
is.
dragon turtle that's like the turtle that is in Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Yes. Okay.
That's a dragon turtle.
Something like it splashes
yeah.
and just goes under the water, but that creates a tsunami wave, which could take out the ship.
Yep.
They literally have
And
an
you're-
ability called capsize. Tries to capsize aquatic vessel. That's funny. Yeah, no, I think that's where I have. I think
Mustache said he had a dragon turtle in the game. He says, I had a dragon turtle in the game, and I made it like the turtles from Nemo in communication. You totally rock, Squirt! That type of thing.
That's great.
that's fantastic. Awesome.
That's a good one.
Well,
I mean,
I-
sirens is another potential
So
option.
Yeah, I think harpies are going to be a problem at some point.
They can get a little more dangerous.
of-
but...
Harpies versus sirens? Ooh, harpies are very
Sirens
strong in
are-
the system.
Yeah. Do they have a Strix? Did they put
do.
that race
You
over
can actually
yet?
you can actually play as a Strix.
Yeah. I know you could do that in 1E, and I was like, did they do that already in 2E? But yeah.
They do have Strix, yeah. That could be kind of fun. Even just harassing the boat, right?
Well, maybe a
Right.
Strix that has a Strix that is colored like a bird of paradise wants to be in the bird of paradise islands. That's where it fits. It's like, no, you're intruding on me. I look like everything else here. Get off my islands.
How come I can't spell siren?
It's got a Y.
It's S-Y?
I've seen it spelled S-Y. Let me...
Is there not?
Creatures.
There might not be a siren in 2E.
Let me see. Monsters? Yes.
Oh, it's S-I-R-E-N.
Like an actual siren. Okay.
Oh, that's Pathfinder's first edition. There is not one in second edition yet.
Hmm.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh.
I would have thought there'd been a early carryover.
Oh, well, that's good to know. I didn't know that. Yeah, the
Mustache
first-
says you should have harpies, but they just harp on you, mocking you and make you take mental damage from their constant harping.
It's true. That's kind of fun.
I was kind of thinking of a Fae sort of thing. Like, they just think they're messing with you, but it's a little more dangerous to the non-Fae.
It's more dangerous than they realize.
Yeah.
That actually might be an option for like a merfolk encounter,
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
That's true.
because they breathe underwater. These maybe it's young merfolk. And they're like, well, we can breathe in the water. Come down and see us.
Yeah,
And they have like an enchanting song or something like that, I think.
right. That's a
Yeah,
little
that'd be cool.
Peter Pan-esque.
The wave callers, right? Don't they have an enchanting song or something like that? I don't. Oh, they actually have charm. Oh, that's cool. That's not a bad idea. Oh, too many options now. Thanks, guys.
No problem.
You're
Awesome.
welcome.
Well, I now have a 6-hour one-shot planned. No.
I see a drowned mummy in there too. That's interesting. Getting the best
Oh.
here.
Yes, a drowned mummy. What's the challenge rate or level?
Too high.
Yeah.
Its AC's 38. So
Oh, my
creature's
word.
17.
17. Yeah, we're not doing that.
Okay.
It just punches a hole in the boat.
What? All right. See how it is. I hear you had this whole reputation for killing your players.
I do.
haven't
I
died
should.
once yet.
I've been nice to you.
Oh.
He usually doesn't need a CR-17 either. It's just like
That's the worst part.
See,
I've
no,
literally
he just
only
needs a
one
room
shot
of
with
rats.
-1 creatures. I don't even want to like. Oh, but I'm all set with. You guys have helped me out a ton tonight.
awesome.
I appreciate it. I have a lot of notes and things to do. I'm very excited about this one. I'm very excited to run this one. So if you're not a patron, you should join or locals so that you
Mhm.
can also have a chance to play with us as we run these. That'd be awesome. I like playing with people.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because also it's so wonderful too with the supporters that are coming in and making their characters. We have a thing. Shout out to 𝙈𝙤𝙗𝙚 for starting this and naming their pre-gen after themselves, so that you can actually run somebody else, and then somebody else gets to watch themselves go on an adventure, sort of thing. It's just a really special treat, and to also be able to play a game with everyone here is what a privilege.
And right now, as far as experience goes, I spend a lot of time in Pathfinder when my brain's not so foggy. It's a lot of fun to run. So I love. Also, if you haven't tried it, you should come try it out.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, if Jacob is satisfied,
I am.
thank you, sir. Thank you very
for
much.
doing this.
Absolutely. This has been
You two were very
go.
inspirational tonight. Nope, go ahead.
Thanks, buddy. We got the bearded bros, right? I mean, I'm lagging behind you guys, but
Yeah.
gotta keep the lady happy.
Grow it out. Grow it out.
Throw it out.
With that, this has been another fantastical forge with Avenue Studios in the Interplanar Crossroads. Adam, sir, what is going on for you on your side of the internet, and how can people support you?
Well, you can find the Inn of Planar Crossroads on YouTube or Rumble, and we encourage you, if you want to watch on Rumble instead of YouTube, to go ahead. That is fine. It is okay with us. And you can support both the Inn of Planar Crossroads and Avenue Studios via Patreon or Locals or direct contact. So, there you go.
Beautiful. And let's hit that $100. Join the travelers, right? Let's do it. I want metal dice.
Travelers of the Multiverse.
Beautiful. Well,
Awesome.
as Adam said, you can become a part of the ever-growing forest known as Avenue Studios by joining our Locals Patreon community, and doing so not only helps us continue to create high-quality content, you'll gain access to our exclusive Discord where you can chat with us, play games, watch movies, and so much more, be a part of these live streams, and also there's a ton of bonus content on Locals and Patreon that just keeps racking up as we keep goofing off while the cameras are running. So come on over. Don't forget to check the links in the description below for sound, music, and ambience that we've been playing in the background, as well as Foundry Virtual Tabletop, Pathfinder 2nd Edition. What else? Oh, Forgotten Adventures, I think, is in there too for some artwork that we use sometimes. So I think that's it. Thank you, chat, so much for providing info and for being here and being wonderful. And we will see you next time. All right, bye.
There y'all.
Bye.